Hi, hey guys. Good morning. Hi, I'm Cody, marketing specialist at QNAP, and I'm here with our product manager, Deval.
Good morning, everybody.
And today we're going to be talking about how you can build a comprehensive surveillance solution with QNAP. And this webinar will include coverage of QNAP's surveillance management software, QVR Pro, the QVR Pro client software, QVR Client, QNAP's multi-NAS centralized management software, QVR Center, QNAP's failover software, QVR Guard, and QNAP's facial recognition software, QVR Face. And at the end, we will go over a brief recommended models section as well, and we will have a Q&A time at the end. So any questions that you might have, please feel free to ask us, and we'll take those at the end of the presentation. And so the fact that QNAP NAS can potentially support anywhere from a few terabytes to dozens of terabytes is an easily scalable storage solution and is connected to your network makes QNAP a very natural fit as an NVR. And so what's QVR Pro? QVR Pro is QNAP's complete video surveillance software, which can transform your NAS into that comprehensive surveillance solution. QNAP includes 8 free camera licenses with the purchase of your NAS and can support as many as 128 channels with additional license purchases. And the QVR Pro software includes a number of surveillance features to help you monitor and manage your surveillance, including QD warp, motion detection, EMAPs, event recording, and easy switching between live monitoring and playback as well. And QVR Pro is easy to install quickly on your NAS or NVR and can connect to surveillance cameras on the network. And QNAP's QVR Pro can support multiple camera groups within a network, you can see here. And so you don't need to set up separate networks to have separate camera groups. QNAP NAS also supports 10 gigabit Ethernet models to help support greater throughput for multiple cameras. This can help to maintain smooth video streams or large groups of higher resolution cameras. Additionally, QNAP's virtual switch supports IP assignment. So basically, you can use the virtual switch to set up a DHCP server and create a network for the various cameras. QVR Pro also supports a flexible storage system for surveillance footage and integrating both HDD and SSD compatibility to create a hybrid storage architecture. You can allocate dedicated storage spaces for general recordings and event recordings, and this ensures that important events have more system resources. So, for instance, you could set up dedicated storage from an SSD array for more intensive tasks like recording events in higher definition. The improved read-write performance of SSDs can also help speed up alerts to reduce your response time. And QNAP uses RAID to help better secure the data and mitigate the risk of potential downtime for the surveillance system. We support RAID 1, which basically mirrors the drives, RAID 5 for single disk redundancy, RAID 6 for 2-disk redundancy, RAID 10, which stripes RAID 1s together in a RAID 0, RAID 50, which basically stripes multiple RAID 5s in a RAID 0, and RAID 60, which stripes RAID 6s in a RAID 0. And here you can see a list of QVR Pro's supported event types. So you can see that this includes things like motion detection, PIR detection, audio detection, and so on right here. And here you can see a picture of the QVR Pro Add Events and Actions window. And you can see on the display here how you can create certain if-then rules. Basically, you will select a certain event that will then trigger a specific action or actions. For example, you choose something like motion detection to trigger event recording. And every time that motion is detected, it will go into event recording. Additionally, you can use this to trigger push notifications or email notifications, text notifications, and things of that nature. So you can easily keep track of what's going on with your surveillance. And here you can see how you can specialize the viewing privileges of various camera groups. So you can basically allow and deny access to whoever within, say, your company you need to allow or deny access. And so it's very customizable, and you can just give access to what various people need, including EMAPs or different groups of cameras and things of that nature. And so now Deval is actually going to give us a demo to show us what this looks like in action.
Thank you very much, Cody. Let me take over the screen. All right, so QVR Pro is an application that you can install from the App Center. So once you log into the NAS, go to go to App Center and look for QVR Pro, or just search for QVR, and then install this application. Now, if you have multiple volumes, let's say, for example, if you have a NAS with an SSD volume and an HDD volume, you can install QVR Pro on the SSD volume, and then you can use the HDD for your storage. Now, we do recommend to have QVR Pro in a RAID format, a volume with a RAID configuration, so that your configurations are backed up and your metadata is not lost whenever disk is failed. Okay, so once you install the application, it will be graded to this tutorial screen. You can go through that. But the first thing you need to do is, once you install QVR Pro, you need to have a space in your NAS to record the cameras, right? So you need to start up a recording space. So to set up recording space, you go to recording storage, and then click on the plus button if there's no recording set up already. So once you click on the plus button, you'll be greeted with all your volumes inside your NAS. Now the QVR Pro resides inside your volume inside your NAS. So you have to make sure you have volume inside your NAS, and it will take away the space you reserve for QVR Pro out of that volume. So the volume, let's say for example, I have a volume of about a terabyte. So I'm going to select that as a volume, and I'm going to set up 500 gigabytes of space for my QVR Pro. So once I've set up that, just click on next. And then you can set up a spare volume if you like to. So in case if you have multiple volumes, you can set up another volume. So in case if your main volume goes down, you can set up a spare volume so that the NAS can start recording on that spare volume. So your recordings are safe. So the NAS does not lose any kind of recording. Now with the new QVR Pro, we also support hybrid mount. So if you have that application installed on a computer, you can set up hybrid mount, and then you can set up recording directly on the cloud storage in case of a RAID failure. So you can now set up recording directly into any cloud services in case if your NAS does get or if you have any failures with your disk drives. So we do support hybrid mount as well as your spare volume. Okay. So once you selected your spare volume, just confirm your settings and click on apply. Once you add your recording space, the next thing you need to do is you need to set up your cameras, right? So the next thing will pop up on the QVR Pro, it's add a camera. So I'm going to select no so we can go through the setup from the beginning. To set up, to add cameras, click on camera settings, and then click on the plus button to add cameras. So now the QVR Pro will search for any cameras you have installed. So if it's a new installation, the QVR Pro will give you a list of cameras that you have on your network, and you can select one of the cameras. Or you can select all cameras if you like to, and then click on next, and then just enter the information that is missing from the screen, and the QVR Pro will add them. To manually add any cameras, you can just click on cancel. I'm just going to click on cancel. Add cameras again. Just click next without selecting any cameras, and you click on add manually. You can select any your brand information, model number, IP address, and username and password, and then click on next. I'm going to select one of the cameras right here, and the name of the camera is very important. This is where you can actually differentiate what camera you're using. So it's, let's say for example, if it's a garage camera, you can name it as a garage camera. If the brand and model number is incorrect, you can go down and select the correct model, put in the port number and RTSP port, and then username and password for that particular camera. Now, we do recommend to make sure to test it to make sure your settings are correct. So it seems that I have an incorrect setting right here. So let me try. I think the username and password is incorrect on my setup here. Let me try again. Let me try another camera. All right, so once you enter the username and password for that particular camera, just click on test, and it will have a checkbox, a green checkbox right here to confirm that it's a correct login information or if it's the correct settings, like here that I have right here, and then click on next. And you can edit the settings for your recording. So this is what I mean by this is your event recording settings, your resolution, all that you can set up right here. I would recommend to do that while you're setting up the camera so you can get that away with. Now, many cameras do support multiple streams. Like this camera supports up to 3 different streams that you can record on the device. So the reason for having 3 different streams is that, for example, the best example I can give you is, let's say if you have a camera that you want the camera to record 24 hours, but because it's recording 24 hours, if you record that on the highest resolution, what will happen is that it will eat up a lot of space on your device. But as nothing is happening in front of the camera, you're just using up that space, or the space may go to waste. So what you can do is under stream settings, it will give you the settings of each of the streams. So what I would recommend to do is you can have the stream 1 as your highest quality stream with the highest frames per second that the camera supports, maximum bit rate the camera supports, and also the video compression, whatever the maximum the video compression is. For stream 2, you can have it a little lower quality, like lower resolution, lower frames per second, lower bit rate, and your stream 3 would be your lowest quality. What will allow you to do is, for normal recording, you can select stream 2. So when nothing is happening in front of the camera, the QVR Pro will record at a lower quality. But as soon as there is an event like motion or alarm detection, the QVR Pro will switch that into stream 1, so it will record the highest quality. So you definitely want, if something is happening in front of the camera, you definitely want it to be recorded at the highest quality. So you can set that up right here. For stream 3, you can either record it if you like to, or you can just use it as for streaming. So in case if you're traveling and you don't have a good Wi-Fi connection or LTE connection, you can quickly switch to stream 3, and the QVR Pro will actually stream the live video to you but you can do record if you like to. You can also set up snapshots where you can take snapshots on the NAS or on a remote location, and you can take snapshots for every 60 minutes, from 1 minute to every 60 minutes. So if there's something that is being built in front of that particular camera, let's say, for example, if camera is pointing outside and there's a building that's been built, you can actually take snapshots of that. They can create a timeline of that. You can also set up a schedule if you like to for any kind of recording. So for normal recording, you can set up as work days. On event recording, you can set up on weekend if you like to. And then once you select all that, just click on next and apply and finish, and that will set up your camera recording. Now I do have another NAS that is already have this set up, so I'm gonna quickly switch that particular NAS. All right, so we went through recording space and camera space. The next thing I'm going to show you is event recording, how to set up event management. So for something, let's say if you want to set up motion recording, you go to event management, and then click on add. Now you can set up a rule such as motion detection, and then you can set up a schedule if you like to. You can create your own schedule if you like to for that event to run. Okay, once you have set up all of that, just click on next. Now we follow an if this then that rule. So for if, you're going to set up what kind of trigger you want it to be. So you can set up either motion detection, alarm inputs, audio detection if the camera supports it. We also have tampering detection, connection loss from the camera. For NAS, we also have recording space errors in case if there's any if the recording space has any issues. you can trigger that as well. If the recording space is getting full, you can trigger that as well. For system as well, you can also set up disk warnings, disk error, and so any kind of errors on the disk, it will also warn you about that. For this particular example, I'm going to select motion detection. You can select the camera for motion detection and click on OK. For then, you want to set up what you want the camera on the NAS to do when it detects a motion. So you definitely want event recording from that particular camera. So you're going to select that. But you can also select another action as well. So for example, I can select push notification. So you can also set up alarm outputs. If the camera supports alarm outputs, you can trigger a light to be turned on or an alarm to be sounded if the camera supports that. You can also control the camera PTZ, so camera can move around to a certain location if you wanted to. You can set up that as well if you have a PTZ camera. And then you can also set up other email notification and push notification and SMS as well. So for this example, I'm going to set up push notification, and then you can set up motion detection as a message, and you can select which user you want it to be sent that to. I don't have any paired devices, so it's not going to show you that information. But once you have entered all that information, click on OK, and it will set up push notification. Once you have all the trigger warning set up, you can click on next, and it will add that event automatically to your device. Okay, so that's motion detection or event recording on the NAS. The other option I like to show you is license management. This is where you can add additional licenses. If you like to, you can purchase more licenses for camera. You can purchase, because QVR Pro comes with a 14-day limitation for free license, you can remove that by purchasing an additional license to remove the recording out of that. You can also purchase QVR Guard as well. You can purchase that from license management. The other option I would like to show you is recording storage. Now this is where you can set up multiple recording spaces. If you like to, you can add another recording space. For example, as I mentioned before, if you have an SSD volume and HDD volume, you can set up a space from SSD volume and also set up a space from HDD volume. What I mean by that is under recording location and days, you can actually set up where each camera can go. So the best example I can give you is, because event recording is driven by metadata, you can actually record that event in an SSD volume, so for faster recording as well as more important recordings go into SSD. So in case if you want to play back, you can get a playback faster. So you can set up that here. You can set up where the recording space for normal recording streams goes to and where event recording space will go to. You can also set up override information as well. So if the if the recording is getting filled up, so once the space gets filled up, the NAS will start overwriting that information. You can set up that. Either you want to enable that or disable that. You can also set up how many days you want the recording to be at, provided you have enough space to hold that much recording. You can also set up some cameras to go to one volume, and the other cameras you can set up that to go to another volume. You can also set up that here as well. Another part of recording storage is recording import and export. So you can actually import recordings from another device, or you can actually back up your recordings to another device as well. So this is where you can actually set up all your recording information as well. Everything else is the control panel is from your the NAS itself. So in case if you have anything, the last information I'm going to go through is privilege setting. So privilege setting, this is where you can set up your users. So you can create a new user, and you can set up the user and give him privilege on what he would or she would like to see. You can allow them to control your system management, cameras. You can allow him to see the emaps as well. Okay, and then you can set up that here as on this particular screen. You can also set up roles as well, so you can create new roles. So roles is basically grouping multiple users in a single role. So you can set up a role for, like, we have 3 predefined roles. For administrator, that gives them access to all the management screens as well as all the cameras, emaps, and views. We have supervisor that gives them access to cameras, looking at cameras, playing back, looking at emaps, playing back. And also viewer that just gives them access to all the cameras, but no playbacks and anything. You can create your own customized roles as well. You can give them access to, again, the similar setup surveillance management, allow him to change cameras or edit emaps, change settings on QVR Pro. You can give him access to certain cameras. You can give him access to either live view or playback or even audio and PTZ control. So you can select in detail what the user can or cannot do, and also give him access to certain emaps. And if you have different views, that I have a view called all cameras, you can give him access to that particular view as well. Okay. So this is where you can set up your privilege settings, and this is basically QVR Pro. So back to you, Cody.
Thank you, Duval. All right, so the next section that we're covering is QVR Client. And QVR Client is an app for client devices connecting to QVR Pro on the QNAP. And this is what you would be using to manage all of these functions from whatever device you're using to monitor your surveillance. So QVR Client is designed to run on your computer, or you can use HD Station to run it right on the NAS using an external monitor, or you can also download QVR Client for your mobile device to monitor from there. And this is what you'll use to access all of these previously mentioned features and have you connect to the surveillance running on your NAS. And so to download QVR Pro Client for Windows, Mac, HD Station, or Ubuntu, there are download links within QVR Pro, and mobile app versions are also available for Android and iOS in their app stores. And within QVR Pro, it's easy to view both the live stream and previous footage on playback. It's also easy to toggle between the two within the QVR Pro client user interface. And QVR Pro Client provides a unified user interface that can be run across various platforms. So if you have various people needing to access the surveillance, whether using Mac or Windows or whichever they're using, they can both access. And QVR Pro Client also features dynamic viewing, giving you a flexible user interface to arrange stream views to best fit your needs. And dewarp technology is also supported to enable you to get clear views of footage that you catch on your fisheye cameras. And right here, you can see the QVR Pro Client layout. This includes the dynamic view space. This is where you see the actual footage of your surveillance and can flexibly configure what streams are shown, as well as EMAP displays and how they're displayed. And the item lists all of the cameras, so you can easily add them to the dynamic view. And then there's also the main toolbar, which includes various settings, as well as shows your CPU usage, RAM usage, GPU and VRAM, among other things. And then you can also see on the right side the event notifications, where you can see notifications for things like motion detection, or if there's a connection issue or anything like that. And then down below, you can see the timeline. And this is where you can kind of scroll through your footage, and you can toggle that between the live and playback. And as mentioned before, you can install QVR Pro Client on mobile devices, and this will enable you to be able to just view your surveillance, both live stream and playback footage from your mobile device. And it also enables you to control PTZ cameras remotely. So cameras, if you can move it, if you need to move the positioning of a camera, you can do that from your mobile device as well. And all right, so now Duval is going to demo for us QVR Client.
Thank you very much, Cody. All right, let me switch back to controls. All right, so we went through QVR Pro software that allows you to set up your QVR Pro recording space and cameras and all of that information. But what about viewing those cameras? So we have provided an application for your computer called QVR Pro Client that allows you to view your cameras, play back live videos. And to open that application, if you have QVR Pro open, you can just click on QVR Pro Client, and it will look at your computer and see if the application is installed, and it will open the application for you and auto login for you. Now, if the application is not installed, the QVR Pro will allow you to the QVR Pro will then suggest you the best application to install. So if it's a Windows application, it will suggest you 32-bit or 64-bit, similar for Mac and Ubuntu computers as well. Now, if you don't have the QVR Pro application installed, you can just click on Start, look for QVR Pro Client, and just click on that application icon, and it will open the application for you. Now, you can set up auto login, so you don't have to put in the username and password, or you don't have to click on login if you have a single NAS. But if you have multiple NASs, you would want to you can select the NAS you want from the list once you log into that NAS, and then click on login. So once you log in, it will bring up your last view settings, cameras that you had put up on the QVR Pro. Now on the left, you can see your views, your cameras, and your emaps. At the bottom, you will see your playback and live view, or live bar. On the right side, you will see your motion detection information. And on the top, you can see your information about your resources. This will be your computer resources, not the NAS resources. So your CPU from the computer, RAM, GPU, and video RAM if you have a graphic card installed on the computer. You can also go through your video wall as well. You can set up which, if you have, I have 2 monitors connected. So you can drag and drop where, if you want to see multiple monitors, and then you can drag and drop views, or you can drag and drop cameras to that particular monitor, and you can create a video wall for you. So once you have set up that, you can also quickly search for motion detection or any metadata that QVR Pro installs. You can go to full screen. You can toggle between your volume controls. If you have any export tasks going on, if you have downloaded video, you can see your background task. You can see all your motion detection right here. And under settings, you can go through the settings for QVR Pro Client, like alerts, emaps, alerts where you can actually play sounds from the computer in case if there's a motion detection. You can also configure path for your snapshot. So when you take a snapshot on the computer, or you can click on the snapshot button, it will save it on that particular location. Under advanced settings, you can select the resolution for QVR Pro. You can also enable some hardware transcoding or a CPU load balancing from your computer and graphic card if it supports it. And basically that would be it for the settings. So let's say if you want to view any cameras, you can just drag and drop the camera on the particular main screen, and it will actually show you the live view of that particular camera. You can also drag and drop the emaps right here. So let's say if you want, I'm going to show you how to edit an emap. So click on the 3 bars once you drag and drop the emap, and click on Open Emap Editor. So I have 2 cameras right here. You can drag and drop the camera that you want right here, and it will show that camera on. And then so that will be your emap right here. Click on the Save button, and it will go back to that particular screen. So so right here, you can click on the Save button, and it will go back to that particular screen. And so once you have all the camera setup done here, give me 1 second. And if you want to view at the motion recording, so let's say if you have any event recording done here, and it will show up here on the left of the screen, you can double click on here, or you can just click on this button, and it will play back that last event from that particular camera. At the bottom of the screen, if the camera is so let's say if you have this camera recorded, turned on, or viewing at the live view, you can see what motion detection. So all the events are highlighted in pink right here, and then all the blue bar is normal recording. So if you want to quickly go back to that particular time, you can click on that particular time, and it will start playing back that particular camera. You can also play back. You can view live cameras from other cameras, and then play back one of the cameras, or you can just view different times from different cameras as well. So you can do that as well for QVR Pro. Now, let's say if you want to play back a certain time, you can click on the calendar icon, and if there's any recordings for those particular dates, it will be highlighted right here in blue, and then click on that, and it will go to that particular date, and you can select the time you want to play back. You can also specify a time, so playback time. You can play exactly what time you want to play back, and then click on the playback button. It will play back that particular time for you. Now, if the computer has enough processing power, you can actually play back at a higher speed. You can actually go up to 16x speed if you want to play back at a faster speed, and it will play back up to 16x. Now, it depends upon the computer speed. So if you go to 16x, but the QVR Pro then goes back to 8x or 4x, that means the computer doesn't have enough processing power to play back at a faster speed. So right here, see I have two cameras playing back, so it's using all my CPU and GPU right here. This computer doesn't have a very specific graphic card, so it's taking a toll on that computer. So that is where you can actually look at that, or you can play back faster speeds as well. Now, if you want to export something from the computer or export recordings, you click on the export button, and you can select from all recordings, regular recordings, event recordings, and you can specify the time, and you can specify duration if you like to, or you can specify an end time. Okay, if you want to hire like longer recording. Under advanced settings, you can use the original format, but you need QVR Pro to playback, or you can select AVI that allows you to have digital watermark, or MP4 that doesn't allow you to have digital watermark, but allows you to share that video and playback quickly on multiple computers. All right, and that is it for QVR Pro. Thank you very much. Back to you, Cody.
All right, thank you, Deval. And so the next thing we are going to be looking at is the QVR Center. With QVR Center, this is the app that will enable you to to be able to manage all of your QVR Pro servers from one place. So if you have a solution where you have multiple locations and in many different places, QVR Center can help you to manage that easily. And some of the features that this features is like being able to manage servers in batches. So you can add many servers to the QVR Center at once. So it doesn't take so long if you have many different locations, many different servers to get everything up and running. Additionally, if you need to do something like say update this the firmware, you can update the firmware in batches so you're not just individually going one by one, and this can streamline that process. Privilege management is another thing that QVR Center addresses. So you can easily set up your privileges for the various sites or various camera groups or whatever you need to do to get different people in your company viewing exactly what they need to view. QVR Center also features a log server. So this can log just events or just different things from QVR Center and from your various QVR Pro servers, so you can see what's going on with all of your different servers in one place. And also features a customizable surveillance dashboard and allows you to customize your view to quickly and easily get information about events from a single page. And it is downward compatible with QVR 5.1 and Surveillance Station. So here you can see a display of how managing multiple QVR Pro surveillance solutions from a single location might look. To connect the various surveillance systems, you can connect the various QVR Pro servers to QVR Center via LAN IPs, WAN IPs, or domain names. And here you can see some of the privilege settings available in QVR Center, such as system management, which includes things like adding or deleting servers, EMAP management, which includes adding, deleting, and editing EMAPs, view management, which includes adding, deleting, and editing various views. All right, so here you can see QVR Center's server management window with various QVR Pro servers listed, along with the model number and MAC address, network address, status, and the display name. And if you see that a server is unavailable, you can find it here, and it also can help show reasons for unavailability to help you troubleshoot. So whether that be connection issue, or if QVR Pro is not activated, or various things, this makes it much easier for you to be able to see why a various server might be having a connection issue. And with that, Deval is going to demo for us QVR Center.
Thank you very much, Cody. Let me change the organizer again. All right, QVR Center again is an application that you can install from App Center. So look for QVR Center. I have it installed. Once it's installed, click on Open, and it will open the application for you. Now, I already have a remote NAS that I've added on the QVR Center. I'm going to show you how to add another NAS. So on the server management page, you can click on Add. You can put in the server name that you want, and then you can select if it's QVR Pro, QVR 5.1, and all surveillance station. You can select that. QVR 5.1 is basically a wire stored NVRs with the surveillance station 5.1 installed. You can enter the network address of that particular server. You can put in the HTTPS port number and username and password for that particular server, and making sure you click on connect, and then it will connect that for you. You can also search for servers if you like to. So if you have the server on the same network, if you have multiple servers on the same network, you can click on search servers and add them. If you have multiple servers, you can select all the servers and click on apply, and you can add all the servers at the same time. Once you have added all the information and confirm that you have all the credentials correct, click on apply. All right, and it will say the QVR Pro is successfully being added. So here you can actually see the QVR Pro information, like if it's available or not, if there's any problems with the QVR Pro, if it's deactivated or anything like that. You can quickly get that information here. You can see the server type, if it's QVR Pro, surveillance station, model number, network address. Now model number will show you MAC address in case if the server is on the same network. You can also see the version number as well right here. And here you can also change settings as well. You can stop multiple QVR Pro in case if you wanted to stop for any maintenance or anything that you would like to do. You can also start them from here as well. You can also update QVR Pro that you would like to. You can have an online update if there's an update available, or you can actually select the manually locate the file or you can download the file for QVR Pro and update them. And this is batch update, so you can allow them to update multiple servers at the same time. Okay, surveillance event dashboard gives you information about the surveillance event. This is basically all the events. You can group them in for hours. You can create your own specialized motion event. You can click on add widgets. And if you have many, I don't have view creative QVR Center, but if you have views, you can select that view, and it will give you the events for all that cameras that are within that view. And you can select the event type to be motion detection only, or you can have different kind of events, and then you can set up, and it will show you in this particular screen. You can see it in hourly basis, or 3 hours or 2 hours, and if you click on that, it will give you what event was triggered for that particular camera. So you can quickly get that information from this particular screen. You can also go through all the logs for QVR as well. So you can see, click on QVR Pro, and then you can see all logs for all the QVRs that you have installed. And then anything from motion detection or streams, or and also if you have servers added or removed, you can see all that log information here. Surveillance station will have different logs events. I don't have a surveillance station NAS installed, but surveillance station will have its own log here. And on the users, again, this is similar to QVR Pro. You can create your own user, but you can only add them in a role. Now you can define role right here. You can give them access to server management, like adding servers to QVR Center, removing servers with QVR Center, managing emaps, view management. You can also give them camera privileges from each of the servers. Again, this does not give you access to each individual camera, but just servers. You can also provide emap as well. So you can also view the privileges you have given here. Okay, so that's the role management right here. Under system, basically you can back up and restore your QVR backup as well. Now QVR Center has its own client as well. It's basically the same client, which is a QVR Pro client, but you can open that quickly here by clicking on the button, or again, you can open the QVR Pro client software on your computer if you have it installed, and then click on the QVR Center right here, and then you put in the username and password for that particular server, and click on Login. And then you will see all the cameras from all the QVR Pro right here. And then you can drag and drop cameras from different servers right here, and it will give you access to all the servers. This is my server at home, and it will give you access to all the servers at home. And then it also show you motion detection from all the cameras. You will see all the cameras, motion detection from all of them here. You can play back quickly, go back and play back right here. You can play back individual camera. This is basically the same exact view that you have seen for QVR Pro client. There's nothing basically different here. If you have any PTZ cameras right here, you can actually click on that particular camera. This is a PTZ camera. You can click on that and then click on the icons for moving the camera around. You can go to a certain preset locations for your PTZ camera. If it's a camera that is basically a fisheye camera, you can also click on the fisheye button right here, and then you can create your own region, or you can create multiple regions for and then you can move the preset around, or the fisheye camera region, and then you can have your own personalized view as well. So that's fisheye camera for you. So this is basically, this particular feature is also available for QVR Pro client as well. This is not for QVR Center, but this particular feature is available for QVR Pro client as well. Okay, so that is basically QVR Pro or QVR Center. Thank you very much, and let me give it back to you.
All right, thank you, Deval. The next topic we'll be getting into is QVR Guard. So what is QVR Guard? Why do you need it? Basically, QVR Guard is a failover system for your QVR Pro server, so that if for some reason a QNAP were to go down, you would still be able to maintain your footage. And QVR Guard has an independent failover recording space, ensuring uninterrupted recording. And during the takeover period, the recording is still 24/7. And during the takeover period in QVR Pro client, you can log into QVR Guard with the admin account to keep monitoring. And so here we can see QVR Guard standby mode. So this is what you would typically have the QVR Guard set up as. So when it's in standby mode, it doesn't really have a whole lot of resource overhead usage. You can basically use that NAS for whatever else you want to use it for. It's just they're ready to take over in the event of an issue occurring with connected QVR Pro that goes down. And then you have the takeover mode. So if something does go wrong, QVR Guard will automatically take over the malfunctioning NAS. And during the takeover period in QVR Pro client, you can log into QVR Guard with the admin account as previously stated to monitor and look for video feeds and view camera settings. And then upon detection of the restored QVR Pro, QVR Guard stops taking over the recordings, and recordings during the takeover period can be accessed via logging into the QVR Guard. So anything that was recorded while your primary NAS was down, you can just log into the QVR Guard on that standby backup NAS to view the footage taken during that period. And Deval is actually going to demo for us QVR Guard.
So basically, the QVR Pro Guard. Okay, I'm so sorry. That was some audio issues on my end, so it's been fixed right here. So what I was trying to show you is quickly, the QVR Guard is installed as an application on the NAS. Once you have installed QVR Guard, you can add the NAS. You can first add the storage space and then add the NAS afterwards. Once you have added the NAS, the NAS will show up as standby mode, where the QVR Guard will just be as a standby. It won't be doing any kind of resource management. It will just be looking at this, looking at the QVR Pro server, the main server, to make sure that the QVR main server is ready to go and it's working. Once everything is connected, it will actually make sure maintain the connection between the main server. Once everything is done, you can actually do any kind of settings or change edit any settings from the QVR Guard. It'll just be a view only setting server. Okay. So what I've done, what I'd done before was just disconnected the network cable from the QVR Pro server. So indicating a failure on the QVR Pro server. Basically, I'm just indicating that there was a failure on the Pro server. So what it did was the QVR Guard started taking over from the server, and all the cameras switched over to QVR Guard server. So QVR Guard would now be responsible of recording all the cameras and showing you the view from those cameras, even though the main server was not ready, or main server was disconnected. The QVR Guard will now be the takeover server. So you will have to log into QVR Guard server to look at the cameras and recordings for the time period where the QVR Pro server wasn't recording. So what I've done is I've reconnected the network cable, indicating the QVR Pro server is back online. So in a matter of minutes, the QVR Guard will give back the controls for QVR Pro to QVR Pro server, and all the recordings will now go back to QVR Pro server, and QVR Guard will now be acting as a standby server only. Okay, so that is how QVR Guard works. So we do recommend to have QVR Guard installed on same model NAS or an upgraded model for that particular model series. You cannot also, if you're using an AMD CPU, recommend QVR Guard server to be also an AMD CPU, similar for Intel CPUs as well. QVR Guard server has to be an Intel CPU as well. When you create a storage group, we recommend to have similar setup for storage. So if the QVR Pro software was a 3-disk RAID 5 group, then the QVR Guard also needs to be 3-disk RAID 5. And if the QVR Pro software volume is about 500 gigabytes, so make sure the QVR Guard is also around 500 or more, so it can start recording on the QVR Guard software. So that is it about QVR Guard, and I'm going to give back control to Cody.
Thank you, Deval, and we'll just be taking a look at QVR Face here in a moment. And QVR Face is basically our facial recognition software that we are using. So this will be able to integrate with a number of various softwares to help your surveillance solution and help your business function smoothly. All right, so a few of the features that we have for QVR Face. We have edge computing with a single NAS. So you can run the facial recognition software on the NAS that you're running QVR Pro, and there's no added accelerator cards or GPUs needed or anything of that nature. So this helps give a quick response for just processing the facial recognition footage. And then additionally, we have support for RTSP cameras. And so this gives you a wider choice of different cameras with a wide price range so that you can have flexibility in what you're using with your facial recognition software. And additionally, there's easy API integration. So basically, it's an open platform for integrations, either with POS systems or for digital signage or various things. Basically, if you need to use facial recognition software to identify, like, say, VIP guests, and then you want to integrate that with some other software to work with the facial recognition, it's easy for QVR Face to coexist in your environment with whatever other software you're using. And then these are some new features for QVR Face that are coming down the line. And so we're going to have a face search. So basically, you're able to search specific faces going back through previous footage. You'll be able to search for a specific person's face. Additionally, we're going to be integrating QVR Face with our standard notification center. And so this will help for like push notifications, text notifications, email notifications. If say something with like a facial recognition, like a VIP comes in, or just various facial recognition applications, will be able to connect with your regular QNAP notification center. Additionally, with an ETA in 2021 quarter one, we're going to be rolling out a frequent customer label. So QVR Face will be able to recognize if a VIP is coming in. And so, like, if there's a person who happens to frequent, say, a store or hotel frequently, QVR Face will be able to pick up on this and label them as a frequent customer. And QVR Face actually comes in two forms. We have two apps for it. We have the base app of QVR Face Insight, and then we have the more advanced app with QVR Face Tiger, which is it is an additional license fee, and it does require more resource overhead. So you will need a higher end model for the QVR Face Tiger. And so let's look at a few of the different features and to help see which one might fit best for you. So for the first three here, the face register and stranger detection, event notification with QVR Pro, and analytics report, these are all supported on both. But however, if we're looking at gender and age identification, so if QVR Face picks up a various person, they can identify what gender they are and give an age range. This is only available with QVR Face Tiger and not the base QVR Face Insight. And then also with face pose or angle, basically what this is if the face for QVR Face Insight, the face will have to have a more direct angle to the camera to be recognized, whereas with QVR Tiger, it's more flexible with the angle at which a particular person's face can be facing the camera. So it'll be easier to pick up the various faces with QVR Tiger, or with QVR Face Tiger. And both QVR Face Insight and QVR Face Tiger are supported by Intel Core i series NAS models. However, if you have AMD Ryzen NAS, you can actually only use that with the QVR Face Tiger. It is not available. It does not run the QVR Face Insight. And then, however, with Intel Celeron or Pentium CPUs, that will only work with the QVR Face Insight and not QVR Face Tiger, just because, like I said before, QVR Face Tiger is a more intensive app, and it will require a greater resources. So that's not going to run very well with Celeron or Pentium. So you need something higher. And with that, Deval is going to give us a demo of QVR Face.
Thank you very much, Cody. I'm going to switch over the controls to my computer. The QVR Face currently has two flavors of the software. One is the QVR Face Insight and QVR Face Tiger. Okay, and then you can search with QVR on the App Center and then install one or the other application. Now, QVR Face Insight allows you to give you the QVR Face is a lightweight application that has all the features from QVR Face Tiger except for age detection and gender detection. But it does give you access to analyzing one single camera stream and up to 3 different profiles it can recognize. But again, all the setup feature remains the same between both the applications. QVR Face Tiger allows you to have, it's a license-based application that gives you 30 days free license that you can install. When you install, it will give you the option to activate that 30 days free license, and then you can start using our test QVR Face Tiger. For this particular demo, I'm going to go through QVR Face Tiger. So click on Open on the QVR Face Tiger application, and you'll be greeted to this welcome screen. You can go through that to understand the application. Right here, I have added a camera that is analyzing right now, but I'm going to delete that camera so I can show you how to add a new camera. Now, there are two ways to add cameras. One, if you have a camera that is RTSP stream capable, you can click on Create Task, and you can click on From RTSP Stream. We are working on a feature that you can actually import directly from QVR Pro without needing to change any settings. That will be available in a future version. I think it'll be available around the end of Q4 or next year Q1. But right now you can import it from RTSP Stream. You can click on that. You can test. You can create a task name like QVR Face Detection. You can, as QVR Face Tiger allows you to have gender detection and age detection, you can select both of them if you like to, and click Next. Now you have to put in the username password for your RTSP camera and the RTSP Stream option. Now, if you don't have access to a camera that can support RTSP Stream, but if you have QVR Pro installed, you can actually go directly to QVR Pro and import it directly from there. So I'm going to log into a NAS that has QVR Pro installed on it. Okay, and then QVR Pro allows you to share an RTSP streaming from QVR Pro, and then you can add that into the QVR Face Tiger. So once you log into the NAS, QVR Pro, click on Camera Settings. And then click on the Share button right here, and you can share via RTSP Stream, and click on the Share Channel icon. Once you click on Share Channel, you can select the IP address from where you want it to share, and click on the Copy Link option. Once you have copied the link, click on Paste it here under RTSP URL. Put in a username and password for the NAS, actually. Not the camera, but the NAS. Making sure that you click Test to always confirm that everything is working. Once you have successfully connected, click Next. All right, so once you click Next, the QVR Pro will start analyzing, or will connect to the camera first, and it will start analyzing the face. I'm having some issues with the camera. Let me see. Okay, I'm so sorry about that. Let me make sure I have shared it properly. Apply and close. Next. And I think I have two camera added on both applications. That's probably why. I had camera added inside as well as QVR Face Tiger. That's probably the reason why it was failing. Sorry about the delay. So again, once it's added, it will start analyzing the camera. So see right here, because the reason for error is because I had both applications installed and had the same camera on both applications. So that's again a great troubleshooting step. So if you have the same camera added on both applications, it won't work. So making sure that the camera is only added on one application. So once it started analyzing, it will start analyzing the faces. So right here, I have added my profile here. So it's actually analyzing my face with my name as well as my gender and my age group as well. So once it's added as well, and you can uncheck this box, and it will start showing you recently registered faces after you start analyzing, and it will also show you unregistered faces as well. You can then go to reports, and then you can look on your reports and then search for like certain date and time, and then click on search, and it will show you how many times user popped up at what time and date. And if you have other users that you have, the unregistered users, it will also show up as unregistered as well. But right here, only have registered people. I have registered users here. To add people in group, you can once the unregistered face is added here, you can click on profile, put in a profile key. That could be your like driver's license or maybe employee number. So we want to put in that information and the name. If you can create your own groups like marketing group or a sales group, you can create that here, and you can create you can import and export users as well. And then once you have done that, you have registered a user. Under logs, it will just give you information about the logs. Now, QVR Face also allows you to send event notification if there is any detected camera or a detected user is detected or an unregistered user is detected. The way you do that is, first you need to create you have to have QVR Pro for that. So first you need to create an event here. To create, click on Event Management, and then click on Add, and click Next. So first you need to create a customized event here. So you can say face detection, and under here you can select event URL. You can say face detection again here, or anything you wanted to name it as. Copy this particular link and click on OK. Now once you have done that, go back to QVR Face and then click on event, and then making sure pasting that event notification here or event URL, and you can say my name. For now, you can meet any conditions, or you can meet all conditions if you like to. So I'm going to say meet and profile name. So whenever the QVR Face detects me, it will send a notification to this particular event, and you can trigger. And going back to QVR Pro, you can trigger what you want it to do. So if double enters or double is detected by QVR Face, do you want it to record a camera, or you want to send a push notification? And then you can select what notification you want, like double detected or double detected, and it will send you a push notification on your phone saying that double came into the room or double detected. So whatever that message you want it to show up as here, and you can select that and click on OK. So that's QVR Pro Tiger, and this is the same feature you can get with QVR Face inside as well. All right, so that is it with QVR Face Demo. Thank you very much, everybody. Let me go back to control to Cody.
Thank you, Duval. And so we just wanted to take a quick look here at some recommended models for using QVR Pro. And here at the entry level, we have the TS332X. This comes with 3 drive bays and also 3 M.2 SSD slots. So it's ideal for RAID 5 solution. You get a good amount of storage for a pretty low cost. It also comes with SFP plus 10 gig port. So if you're connecting to many cameras, that could perhaps reduce latency. But we do recommend that you add RAM if you go with this model to 8 gigabytes for a smoother experience. Moving on, for something a little more robust, we have the TS453D, and this has a HDMI port, so you can connect a monitor to it. So if you want to run the QVR Pro client directly on this NAS, and view directly from this NAS, you can just add the monitor with that HDMI port. Additionally, it has a more powerful processor with the Celeron processor, so this might be a possibility for something like QVR Face Insight, whereas with the 332X, that would probably not be good enough. And then for the TVS 1282 T3, this can be a good option with 3 HDMI ports and a much more powerful CPU. This is a i7 CPU we're looking at here. So if you wanted to run, say, QVR Tiger, this could be an option for that. It also obviously has more storage space available with the 8 3.5-inch drive bays as well as the 4 2.5-inch drive bays, and is a rather powerful NAS and a very solid choice. And then for those with very large, robust storage needs for their surveillance solution, we have the TDS 16489U, and you can actually expand up to 6 expansion bays with this. It is a rack-mountable solution, and this could provide you with even over a petabyte of storage. And it's a very powerful NAS, so it should be able to provide whichever needs you are looking for with QVR Pro and with our surveillance solutions. And with that, we will go into our Q&A time. And so we'll just take a look at some of the questions here, and Deval can just kind of answer.
All right, thank you very much, Cody. All right, so I've taken over the control. I would like to show you a lot of questions were asked regarding licensing. So I'm going to go through that quickly. So first, I'm going to go through your how to purchase a license. So to purchase a license, you can visit software.qnap.com, and then you can purchase a license. So first, I'm going to look at the QVR Pro licensing. So you can go to Surveillance and click on QVR Pro. Now, QVR Pro has multiple licensing options. This is a one-time purchase. It's not a subscription model. So let's say the QVR Pro free license, if you remember, comes with 8 free camera licenses, but limits you to add up to 14 days of recording. So you can get up to 8. You can record up to 14 days for 8 camera licenses. It does not give you the ability to add it as a in QVR Center. QVR Center itself is a free application, but only allows you to add up to 2 QVR Pros. But if you want to add a third or fourth, it does not allow you to do that once you pass the 2. Okay, so the first licensing option is you can add additional licenses. You can have 1-channel license, 4-channel license, or 8-channel license directly from here. You can add so if you like the 8 channels, but you don't want but you are limited with, you don't like the limitation of 14 days recording, you can actually now we have an option to purchase unlimited playback. So this allows you to give you unlimited playback, but just for 8 cameras only. So that limitation is now removed with unlimited playback license. We do have a gold license as well that gives you the ability to have 8 more channels, gives you the ability to have unlimited recordings, and also few other features, like, for example, recording time unlimited for QVR Pro Gold gives you 8 free licenses. You can have a channel extension license. You can add more channels to QVR as well on top of the 16 that you get. So you can unlimited playback. Now, under privilege settings, what it does is gives you the ability to add domain users as well. If you have domain controller set up at your location, you can actually give QVR Pro user privileges directly to the domain users. You don't need to create a local user. With other licenses, you'll have to create local user and give them access to user and password from the NAS. But with QVR Pro, that's another major feature that gives you domain user access. And for QVR Center, it gives you the ability to add about 128 channel or 128 servers that you can add in QVR Center. All right, so that's the advantage of having a QVR Pro Gold license. Now, let's move on to QVR Face licensing. So QVR Face, we have Insight, which gives you the ability. We have it's a subscription-based model. We have 1 month, 1 year, and 3 year subscription. So for 1 month, we have the options to having live analytics. So you get 1 free live analytics with QVR Insight, but for only up to 3 profiles. So you can only add up to 3 registered users. With Insight, you can purchase like live analytics. You can add more cameras to have your live analytics. You can add more profiles if you like to. You can add up to 100 profiles, 1,000 profiles, and 10,000 profiles. You can do that with QVR Insight. Okay, so that's your licensing options. Remains similar for 1 year and 3 year licensing as well. So that's your QVR Insight licensing. Now moving on to QVR Face Tiger licensing. Now QVR Face, if you remember, it does not give you any free live analytics. It only gives you 30 days of free live analytics. Now, if you want to add another, so you have to purchase first a live analytics license to add 1 camera. You can purchase multiple of them to add more cameras, and then you have to add profiles. So you can add up to 100 profiles, 1,000 profiles, 10,000 profiles into the cameras. So that's how the licensing works for QVR Face and QVR Face or QVR Pro. Okay, so I hope that answers all your questions regarding the QVR Pro. A few other questions that I would like to pick from here is can you tag a VLAN into QVR Pro? So with QVR, yes, you can have VLAN tagging via the virtual switch on the QNAP NAS itself, and then you can use that particular network port to be a QVR Pro camera one. Okay, so that's one of the features. That's one of the questions. So is there a way to change order for the cameras when you add in the QVR Pro? Right now, that is not available. That feature is not available. But we are working on a feature that will allow you to change the camera orders. Once you have added that into QVR Pro, you can move around the orders in QVR Pro. For QVR Guard, it has to be the same exact model? Well, we highly recommend to be the same model or at least an upgraded model for QVR Guard. So you can have a you can have, now if you have a TF453, we recommend to be in the same series, 453B, D, an upgraded model. Or for example, if you have an Intel NAS, we recommend to stick with Intel, and if it's AMD, we'll recommend to stick with AMD. Okay, so that's for QVR Guard. Another question is, can I use TR004 as a dedicated expansion box? Yes. If you set up TR004 as storage or create a volume inside TR004, then yes, you can add you can add TR004 as your dedicated QVR Pro storage, and you don't need to record that inside your inside your NAS. So do we have unlimited only recording? So yeah, as we went through right now, you do have the option to have unlimited recording for $99. So you can remove that 14-day limitations. You don't have to go to QVR Pro Gold if you like to. You can just go directly to QVR Pro. So regarding licensing transfer, so in case if you upgraded to a newer NAS, you can create a help desk ticket, and they will help you on having to transfer licensing directly from the QVR old to the new NAS.
I wanted to take this moment to thank you guys for joining us for the webinar. And if you guys want more information, feel free to reach out to us at usasales@qnap.com.